19 for the poor. Though the battle had taken place just off of Waves' coast, trudging along at a civilian pace meant he didn't reach the old bridge builder's home until the sky had turned a dusky violet. Dasana had only expected to host one team, but welcomed Team 7 without hesitation too. Safety in numbers and all that. Especially when one had a daughter and grandson under the same roof. It was a worn and sleepy group who stepped inside a warm home. A little boy took one glance at them and ran up to his room. Maybe he was shy? Tazana watched his grandson disappear upstairs, jaw tightening. "He's scared of mercenaries," he said quietly. Not without reason. Haruhi winced. Yeah, he'd explained how a man named Gato had taken over Wave's entire economy, buying up the shipping routes, cutting off trade, and using hired thugs to come down on those who resisted. Tazuna's bridge was the only way to break that chokehold, which was why Gato wanted him dead. The pressure had gotten to his family, but at least Tazuna's daughter, Tsunami, welcomed him kindly. They borrowed the kitchen to make a late supper, vegetable soup, and then came the lodging logistics. With limited space, both teams ended up crashing in the living room, spread across mats and sleeping bags in a chaotic patchwork of limbs and blankets, settling the best they could for an uneasy sleep in an unexpected place, bracing for an uncertain tomorrow. Ino let her hair down and took a moment to brush before lying down, glancing covertly over at Sasuke while her fingers moved on instinct. Shikamaru was out cold before Haruhi even finished settling in the corner, opposite of Kakashi's sensei. Choji cracked open a window, the fresh sea breeze flapping the curtains gently. One by one, the others drifted off. Haruhi closed her eyes and listened to the distant waves until sleep dragged her under. However, Naruto and Sasuke being glued together was becoming everyone's problem. Even unconscious, they'd managed to turn wrestling into a full-contact sport. They'd gone to sleep back to back, but a few hours later, she woke to hissed bickering as they tried lying side to side. "You're hogging the blankets, my blankets!" That died down eventually, and she thought that would be the end of it. Then dawn came with a blood-curdling scream. Haruhi bolted upright, kunai in hand as a beam of sun blinded her eyes, only to realize that screaming wasn't an attack, but because Naruto and Sasuke had woken up cuddling. Lifting her hand to shade her eyes, Haruhi winced when a sting shot through her shoulder. Between fighting, running, and traveling to Wave, she hadn't done any cooldown at all. Ino sulked on the mat beside her, twiddling with a lock of her long blonde hair. "Well, this is not the love triangle I expected." "I'm going back to sleep." Shikamaru rolled over, pulling his blanket up. "Wake me when the divorce papers are ready." "No, you don't. It's time to get up." Asuma Sensei stepped between them on his way to the doorway, glancing down at Naruto and Sasuke as he passed. He shook his head with weary resignation. "I'm not paid enough for this." He jerked his thumb towards the back door. "Outside, all of you. We're starting early." Right. They were still on a mission. Ending up in Wave was a slight detour, but it was still a mission. Finally, everyone got moving. Morning in Wave tasted like salt and damp wood. Haruhi stepped out into the clearing behind Tazuna's house, the cool air helping her stir awake after the poor night's sleep. "Where's Kakashi-sensei?" Haruhi asked, tying her hair up. "Gathering intel," Asuma-sensei said simply. Haruhi began a light warm-up while waiting for the others. Simple stretching and mobility poses to ease the tension out of her sore muscles and get her blood circulating. Ino and Choji joined her. They exchanged a look and then began mimicking her. "You're feeling yesterday too?" Ino got on with her stretches without a glance, but Choji winced as he rolled his shoulder. "Yeah." They continued in silence, with only the wind carrying the distant sounds of waves rumbling against the shore. Naruto and Sasuke stumbled out last, the lingering spike of embarrassment making them irate and snappish. 1 step forward, 3 steps back, like the world's worst 3-legged race. She looked over the group, unsure whether she was happy or not Kakashi-sensei was gone. After the stolen gold and merged with Team 10, they just hadn't been time for any Sharingan questions. But at least he'd been around. Now Kakashi-sensei was just gone. No chance to ask. Though with everyone outside, Haruhi released her crossbody stretch and gave Asuma-sensei her full attention. Until Kakashi is back, you're stuck with me, and you're not going to spend it idle. What are we doing, Asuma-sensei? Choji asked. Things got more serious than expected. Asuma surveyed the group. We don't have time to ease into things anymore, so we're doing catch-up with some field training. Firstly, you're going to learn to climb trees. Eh? Naruto yelped. Shikamaru yawned. Great. More expectations. My mother will love this. You mean the tree climbing exercise, Asuma-sensei? Ino asked. I am. You've probably seen it around Konoha, Asuma-sensei hummed. Do any of you know it? Haruhi raised her hand. I practiced it yesterday. I know the theory. Ino nodded along. I've tried it before too, but I didn't finish it. Village-stationed ninjas can get away without it, but for us in the field, combat isn't flat. You need to handle vertical and inverted movement too. The ones we're up against already can. Huh? Why? Naruto grumbled. I don't get it. I'll demonstrate. Let's get started. Asuma-sensei stepped up to the nearest tree and walked up the trunk. Yeah! Naruto pointed with his free hand like he'd never seen such before. How do you do that? Had Naruto never seen ninjas running across rooftops as a shortcut? What did he think those signs, "No wall climbing after 10 PM, were for? That's what I'm going to teach, Asuma-sensei said, dropping back down to the ground. He placed his hand on the trunk. You're going to focus chakra to the soles of your feet. Too much and you'll blast yourself off. Too little and you'll slide. Find the balance. Asuma-sensei went into details, covering the concept thoroughly with useful tips. Asuma seemed a good teacher, neither overly eager nor dismissive, but lectured on a good middle ground Haruhi quite liked. His instructions weren't anything groundbreaking, but it was nice to have an adult make the jutsu so clear and framed. For once it didn't fall to Haruhi to navigate through guesswork and experimentations. She could just follow instructions. Now you try, he said, sitting down with his back to a tree, and gestured for them to get moving. Naruto and Sasuke immediately charged the tree. They hit it at the same time, slid down and landed in a heap. Haruhi winced. Training this sort of thing while tied together would add a whole other dimension of challenges, especially for those two. Ino picked the tree as Haruhi went to working too. Bringing forth the Sharingan-stored memory of Kakashi-sensei doing this, she placed one foot on the trunk. Focused, she lifted the other, and walked. From the corner of her eye, Ino was doing the same, but Haruhi stayed locked on her own progress. She stepped carefully, deliberate, testing. 1 step, 2, 3. Ino yelped, and fell after a handful of steps. Haruhi made it up 3/4 of the tree when the chakra in her left foot didn't quite anchor. Haruhi didn't fall, but counted it as a fail. That hadn't been a perfect tree walk. She pushed off and flipped back to the ground, landing lightly. Asuma raised an eyebrow. Someone's ahead of the curve. Looks like you had a productive time of it yesterday. Naruto spluttered. You practiced without us? When? We were together all of yesterday! Haruhi gestured to their glued hands. After we got the gold, you were preoccupied. Sasuke clicked his tongue and activated his Sharingan. Haruhi returned to the tree so he could copy her. Her cousin watched closely as she walked up, without any chakra slips, all the way up to an upper branch and took a seat, feet dangling over the group. Jaw set, Sasuke tried again, and the difference was immediate. He did it. Nice. Haruhi grinned. You too? It's not fair. You're so skilled, Sasuke-kun. Ino complimented, fluttering her lashes. Sasuke would have gotten further up the tree if Naruto wasn't dangling like a weighty body bag off his arm. Shikamaru sighed, stepped up to the tree, and walked up it like gravity was a mild inconvenience. He reached the branch next to Haruhi and plopped down with a sigh. Did you know the tree walking already? Haruhi asked Shikamaru. No. You did it on your first try, with no practice. I guess. How? Ino growled. I trained at this and somehow you beat me to it. That's not fair. You only try when the reward is lazing about, Shikamaru. Why would I keep running up trees if I didn't have to? Shikamaru drawled. I've done the work. Now I can rest. He leaned back, folding his arms behind his head like he'd earned a full day off for doing the bare minimum. I swear, you're like an old guy stuck in a genin. Ino huffed. Haruhi chuckled. The blonde girl tried next, managing a couple steps before sliding down with a squeak. What? Ino exclaimed, audibly frustrated. Looks like you know how to do it, Haruhi remarked. Ino glanced up quickly, almost a bit wary. Did she say something wrong? You can hold. It's just the walking part messing you up. Haruhi shrugged, trying for casual. I know that, Ino said shortly. What was that about? She just tried to be helpful. But Ino was a censor, so maybe it came off as sounding condescending? Abstractly speaking, chakra was a bit like a muscle. The more one practiced chakra, the longer one could hold a jutsu. And if you stop training your chakra, like with muscles, one could actually regress. For chakra control like this, maintenance was key more than momentary fine-tuning. Like the difference between the precision of making a spark of fire and the endurance of keeping it burning. Novices assumed the moment you could make a fire they were done, that they did it. But that wasn't even the halfway point to mastery. Tree walking wasn't as chakra intensive, but the principle wasn't that different. Ino knew the precision to stick, but lacked endurance, getting wobbly when she had to hold. The only remedy was practice, though she'd get there. Below, Choji got 1 foot up before his chakra sputtered. Naruto tried again, overshot, and blasted himself backwards into a bush. Sasuke yanked along for the ride. Asuma clapped his hands. Good! Keep practicing your chakra control, you'll get it. Ino dusted herself off and turned to Haruhi. I see you're back to normal. No way you could have done this after yesterday's fight. Haruhi stiffened. What caused it? It was the jutsu, right? Ino said. You're back to normal now, though. Is this what had been on Ino's mind before? Haruhi had been pretty short with her after the fight, precisely because she pressed the issue, and honestly, she wasn't any more eager to talk of it today. Yeah, I am. For a terrifying hour, Haruhi hadn't been able to activate her Sharingan. Her chakra rolled around, unbalanced. She'd felt so off while her magic and chakra took their time settling into cooperation again. But it had. That was the important part. Her Sharingan worked fine by evening. Her magic seemed alright too, and there wasn't any lasting damage as far as she could tell. The issue turned out to be what it always was. Chakra and magic in conflict. Her Sharingan was not a fan of being used as a conduit to cast magic and shut off. So simple, yet so insurmountable. Because it succeeded. Her magic wanted to channel through her eyes. Her Sharingan had hated it, but damn it, the Protego had worked. It had been solid, unlike all those previous attempts through her hands, which had all been feeble, brief, and weak. Casting with her eyes had done exactly what she wanted, yet at what cost? It worked, only to blow up in her face. She'd been reduced to a Lee-like state where she'd been unable to use chakra very well, nor magic, for half an hour afterwards. One step forward, 3 back. Haruhi thought grimly. Apparently that was the theme of the week. Because how was she supposed to get around that? If that continued, it made spellcasting absolutely useless. Worse, one spell got Haruhi so disorientated she'd made herself a liability in the middle of a battle. Haruhi sighed, the weight of it settling in her chest. She needed to think about something else, anything else. But you can feel all that through sensing? Ino nodded. That mist was really trippy, but I could navigate what was within proximity. Sensing is part of my Yamanaka jutsu, a necessary step to make everything else work. We need to know who's around, but also who's safe to target. How so? Haruhi asked. Doesn't the Yamanaka use mind arts, like in jutsu? Oh no, that's simplifying it way too much. Ino shook her head. It's more direct on the mind. So, controlled genjutsu? Haruhi guessed. Instead of the victim being stuck in their own head, they're stuck in yours? Ino chuckled. More like I am stuck in theirs. Wait, possession? It's actual possession? Pretty much. Ino placed her foot on the trunk and tried again. She stepped up, then simply hung out in that spot without going further. Genjutsu have some overlapping properties with possession, but there are differences. Genjutsu affects from a distance, but my clan controls from within. Excessive, Haruhi murmured. Sounds like genjutsu but with more risk. Ino's smile was sharp. Are you really want to talk of risks? She said airily, but kept talking before Haruhi could defend herself. But there's things I can do Chias can't. I can slip into another. From the outside, you'd never know the person inside doesn't match the face. The signs of genjutsu aren't the same as possession. It's great for intel gathering, because everyone always assumes if they're not under genjutsu, then it's them. I can make a brother spill their secrets, unaware the spirit inside the sister they're confiding in isn't them. Something about that phrasing unsettled her. But it is them. It's them with an addition attached. 2 souls squeezed in one body, which sounded more volatile than one soul with memories of 2 lives. They don't know that. Ino shrugged. Haruhi couldn't help likening the Yamanaka jutsu to her parasitic growth like Voldemort's at the back of Quirrell's head, or Ginny, with Tom Riddle taking over her body and forcing her to kill roosters and write bloody messages. She didn't like it. Maybe Haruhi was just biased, or her Uchiha pride stirred up again at the implication they weren't the best mind scramblers in Konoha. But Haruhi recalled the pain of Voldemort slithering into her through dreams. And besides, the insinuation Ino could slip into someone she knew, like Sasuke, and she'd somehow miss it because there was a possession and not a genjutsu was just insulting. And this is foolproof every time? I'll eat dung if that's true. Even Sharingan isn't foolproof. There are always drawbacks, somewhere. Well, maybe. I guess the Yamanaka mind arts don't work well on people with unstable spiritual energy. If the soul isn't anchored, it can get dangerous for the possessor. Dangerous how? Ino waved a hand, still at the base of the trunk, reluctant to step further. Only in advanced techniques, don't worry about it. She tilted her head, her blue irises peering up at Haruhi thoughtfully from under her lashes. Though you, after how your chakra acted yesterday, you're the sort of person I'd think twice before possessing. As Haruhi had no wish for Ino to try possessing her, she'd had enough of that with Voldemort, thank you very much, she wasn't going to reassure the Yamanaka it would be fine. That was a theory she was perfectly content to leave untried and untested. Yeah. Haruhi traced her scar instead, thoughtful. I think it's a symptom of this old injury. Really? Shikamaru spoke from his branch, voice lazy but precise. Curious. Dad says yin release gets stubborn when someone's carrying a strong spiritual imprint, not from physical injuries. That's usually more yang than yin. I guess. Haruhi glanced over at him. He was paying attention again, seeming more interested in this topic than tree walking. What do you know of spiritual imprints though? Haruhi mused. You know, the Uchiha use yin release too. The Sharingan is based in yin, the Genjutsu too. Shikamaru nodded. Makes sense. A jujutsu about illusions, mental interference, all yin based. Like my clan hidden jutsu, Ino chimed, taking a careful step up on the trunk. And the Nara techniques too. Haruhi looked between Ino and Shikamaru. Both of your clans specialize in yin release? Shadow manipulation is basically weaponized imagination. Shikamaru stretched, looking bored. Dad says Naras usually have more yin than they know what to do with. Haruhi absorbed that quietly. Shadow manipulation. Was that the jutsu you used on the demon brothers to freeze him yesterday? It was, he said. Shadow binding is a hidden jutsu of my clan. Though speaking of yesterday, what was that jutsu you messed up? The barrier. So he'd seen the shield. The rest seemed to have missed it in the mist. Even Ino talked like she'd sensed it more than seen. Which was worse. Hard to say. Maybe if kept separate, both would have been ignorable, but the two teammates sharing notes was the real issue. It's nothing. Shikamaru just looked at her through hooded, dark, weirdly sharp eyes, and the silence stretched. Why? Did he expect her to keep talking? What was he thinking? Fine. I cast a magic shield that messed up my chakra. Happy? From below, Choji snorted and Ino laughed in disbelief. But Shikamaru just kept watching. Ino's burst of laughter made her lose concentration again. She'd almost made it to their branch when she fell, but flipped over her head and landed in a crunch at the foot of the tree. You okay? Choji came over from the other tree. I'm fine, Ino sighed. Haruhi cleared her throat and glanced over at Shikamaru. She couldn't read him. Had he dismissed that or not? Does the Akamichi use yin too? She asked instead. No, Shikamaru drawled. They can change their physique through a calorie control jutsu, which is yang release. It's as much physical energy as shadow or spiritual. Naruto blasted through the tree, bark and splinters flying as he dragged Sasuke down with him. But Haruhi was still turning over Ino and Shikamaru's words. There were jutsu that could weaponize spirits. Faces didn't always match the person inside. A concept she was intimately aware of, but never thought of quite in this way. The Yamanaka and Nara were clans with strong spiritual imprints, more yin than they knew what to do with. Shadow manipulation is basically weaponized imagination. None of it meant anything on its own or pointed anywhere. It shouldn't have tugged at her, but it did. Just a little. Like a thread brushing her fingertips. What would happen if she pulled on it? Would the slight knot come undone? Or tangle it further? Haruhi shook it off, leaving the thread be for now. and hopped down from the branch, landing lightly on the ground. "Sorry for distracting you," she said, forcing her voice steady. "You almost had it. Just try again, yeah?" Ino winked. "Of course, I've got this," she said and moved back to the tree. Choji followed, determined. Naruto was already yelling about how the tree was cheating. Sasuke was trying to pry him off his arm. And Shikamaru? He was still on the branch above, leaning back against the trunk, eyes half-lidded, looking for all the world like he might fall asleep mid-lesson. Completely unbothered. Haruhi exhaled slowly. It was probably nothing, just clan talk, chakra theory and Shikamaru being Shikamaru. Right? Naruto hit the ground again. Sasuke fell with him, barely landing on his feet. "For the love of..." Sasuke snapped, yanking his arm. "You'll tear my arm off if you keep dragging me down like a sandbag." "Why is this so impossible?" Haruhi stepped in before Sasuke could throttle him. "Both of you, stop." Naruto waved his free arm. "Haruhi, I'm trying, I swear!" "You're trying wrong," she said gently. "And you're taking Sasuke with you." Sasuke muttered something that sounded like a threat. Haruhi ignored him. "Okay, new plan. Sasuke, you're helping." "Absolutely not," Sasuke grumbled. "Like it or not, you're attached," Haruhi pointed out. "If he falls, you fall. If he breaks something, you break something. Keep going like this and you guys won't turn this spiral around." "Turn the spiral?" Naruto dragged the hand through his hair, making it stand up worse than ever. "You know, turn it into a good spiral instead of a bad one that goes up instead of down, which can only happen if you cooperate." She talked to the both of them. This wouldn't work if Sasuke didn't see the benefits too. If Naruto gets better, so do you, Sasuke. If Naruto gets more control, you do as well. Instead of both of you tearing each other down, you'll build each other up by mastering a more advanced challenge. Because your predicament makes this into a highly unusual training, like training with weights. If you can master this with your arm tied up, it will only be that much easier when apart. Fine. Sasuke's eye twitched. Good. Haruhi nodded. Now both of you up. They stood. Naruto vibrated with determination. Sasuke rigid with irritation. Haruhi activated her Sharingan, the uneven flickering tomoe spinning once before stabilizing. She had the boys try again. Naruto's chakra lit up like a blaze. Sasuke's weaving, steady and controlled. "Okay," Haruhi said, stepping closer. "Naruto, your chakra is exploding out of your feet. How much chakra do you have?" "I'm not doing it on purpose!" "You're expelling way too much. No wonder the trees are being torn up." "But I'm hardly using anything!" Haruhi shook her head. "You're using as much as I do for a damn fire jutsu. Try use about 10 times less, alright? I can't tell you exact, but you're using a floodgate of chakra." It was so incredibly wasteful, yet you let it shed off without stopping. "Don't you feel how it's draining you?" "Nah." Bloody hell. If he didn't feel it, then how much chakra did he have? That was easily on par with Uchiha, a clan who'd spent generations shaping their bloodline for chakra depth. Dare she say, maybe more? She placed a hand on his shoulder. "Breathe. Pull it back." Naruto tried. His chakra sputtered like a firework. "Even it out," Haruhi said. "Match Sasuke's level." "How am I supposed to do that?" Sasuke rolled his eyes. "Just copy me, moron." Sasuke's judgmental attitude was no help at all, and Naruto rolled on her cousin. "I don't know how to copy you!" Haruhi stepped between them again. Feel the chakra in your souls. Not your calves or thighs. Your souls. You're leaking chakra out the sides of your feet, so don't relax. You have to keep it pulled tight without letting up. Consistency is key. Naruto adjusted. Better, Haruhi said. Now step. Sasuke exhaled sharply through his nose. Fine, he muttered. But we're doing this my way. Before Naruto could ask what that meant, Sasuke planted his foot on the trunk and started walking, dragging Naruto with him. Hey, slow down! Match my pace, Sasuke ordered, and Naruto scrambled to keep up, feet slipping, chakra sputtering. But Sasuke's grip kept him upright. Haruhi stayed at the base of the tree, Sharingan spinning, calling corrections up to them. Too much chakra, Naruto, pull it back. Not that much. Center it under your foot. Naruto wobbled. Sasuke yanked him upright. Stop flailing, Sasuke hissed. You're going to take us both down. I'm trying! Stuck between Sasuke's irate demands and Haruhi's corrective coaxing, something clicked for the blonde. Step by step, with Haruhi supporting from below and Sasuke hauling him from above, Naruto climbed. Naruto's eyes widened. I'm sticking! You are! Haruhi laughed. Now keep going to the branch. Sasuke moved with him, Sharingan spinning as he monitored Naruto's chakra output. Every time Naruto wobbled, Sasuke steadied him with a sharp tug. Don't get excited, Sasuke muttered. You'll spike your chakra. I am calm! Naruto yelled. You're not calm, Haruhi muttered wryly. But you're doing it. Above them, Shikamaru shifted on his branch, one eye cracking open, observing thoughtfully the slow climb until Sasuke and Naruto reached the branch. Haruhi smiled up at them. See? You've got it. From the ground, Asuma-sensei hummed. If all of you can keep this pace, we might be able to start on water walking. Sasuke let out a breath, tension easing from his shoulders. Finally, he muttered. We're stable, just don't... Naruto tripped. There was no chance for Sasuke to save himself before he got pulled forwards like a ragdoll. They both went over the edge, straight onto Haruhi. Oof. Asuma-sensei winced as the three of them hit the ground in a heap. Or maybe not. Sasuke had twisted at the last second to avoid crushing her, but he still hit the ground hard beside them. Naruto scrambled off her like she was on fire. Sorry! I didn't mean... I wasn't... Haruhi sat up. Naruto, what did I say about keeping it steady? Keep it pulled tight. Why on earth would you let go? She stood, rubbing her stinging shoulders, irritation flickering across her face. Next time, she wouldn't use herself as a landing cushion. She pointed to the bark where he'd slipped. You let up your chakra again. You keep using too much when you get excited. I'm sorry! Sure, but did you listen to what I said? Use chakra right, wasn't it? She gritted her teeth, holding back exasperation. Naruto gulped, staring at her wide-eyed. Vampire. And of everything he could have said, that brought Haruhi up short. Huh? She glanced quickly from Choji and Ino to Asuma-sensei and up to Shikamaru. There weren't any vampires here. What? What? Naruto repeated, panicked. What vampire? I said that aloud? Yeah, what vampire? You? She blinked, nonplussed. Scratching the back of his neck nervously, Naruto chuckled. It's nothing. Ino burst into giggles and Haruhi whirled to her. You know what that's about? Naruto thinks you look like a vampire. No. Haruhi gaped. Really? Not usually, but you're using the red eyes, Naruto exclaimed defensively. And you're so pale, and the black hair, and then you start glaring and being serious and you look like a vampire. Me? Does Sasuke look like one too then? No. Except it wasn't just Naruto who spoke, the whole clearing chorused. Alright, if that's how it was. Haruhi grinned sharply, leaning towards Naruto, then snapped her teeth with a loud clack, as if she was about to bite. He yelped and stumbled a step back, face red. A hand climbed over Haruhi's mouth. Sasuke's. She glared sideways at Sasuke. What the hell? You're a menace. She'd show him menace. Haruhi stuck out her tongue and licked his palm. Disgusting! Sasuke jerked back like he'd been electrocuted, pulling Naruto with him. Are you 5? How do you still do that? Me? Haruhi shot back. How have you not learned to keep your hands off my mouth? Ino fell sideways into Choji, clutching her stomach, laughing. You're too old to be licking people! Sasuke wiped his hand furiously on his shorts. And biting? You rabbit raccoon? You can always join puppy practice. The voice drifted in lazily and the group turned. Kakashi-sensei stood at the edge of the clearing, hands in his pockets, mouth crinkled in amusement. Tazuna the bridge builder behind him. Every Tuesday at 5, he added. Biting has to be corrected before the puppy grows big enough to do real damage. Sign her up, Sasuke said with a straight face. Sign them both, or I'm getting the muzzle. Kakashi glanced to Asuma, catching his eye, and the air changed. That was a "we need to talk" look. Asuma-sensei jerked his chin towards the tree line, and the two of them stepped aside, voices low and clipped. Haruhi couldn't make out the words, but recognized the tension. Haruhi got the chakra to her eyes as he turned to Sasuke. His expression was neutral, pointedly unbothered. So he didn't want to ask about Kakashi's Sharingan yet, then? Think he found something in Wave? Sasuke asked instead, but Haruhi shrugged. Is it too much to hope Kakashi-sensei dealt with Zabuza? Ino asked nervously. Haruhi exhaled. Probably not. Kakashi's gaze flickered briefly towards Tazuna. You ready to head off to the bridge? Tazuna grunted. Aye. Asuma-sensei nodded. Then that's it for practice today. Everyone move out. Naruto perked up. We're going into town? Don't get excited, Sasuke muttered. It's Wave. Kakashi-sensei fell into step beside Asuma-sensei and Tazuna. The genin shuffled off of him, Naruto dragging Sasuke, Ino muttering threats under her breath about being more careful. Choji pulled out his chips and offered a bite to Shikamaru, who shook his head. No thanks. Haruhi followed, the distinct crash of waves growing louder as they left the clearing behind. Wave was different from Konoha, and it came from more than a difference of being an island settlement compared to the inland village Haruhi was used to. It was strained. Houses sagged, nets hung in tethers. The air smelled of salt, damp wood, and something tired. The road into Waves' market district wound between worn houses and shuttered stalls. The closer they got to the center, the more people appeared thin, tired, wrapped in coats against the sea breeze. Haruhi kept close to the others, eyes drifting over the cracked boards and empty nets. There were a lot of people, but not a lot of activity. It reminded her strangely of the Uchiha district, another place falling to ruin. But the difference was the people. Here, the lack of resources was causing decaying people, instead of lack of life leading to decaying buildings. They rounded the bend down to the pier, and a mill loomed ahead along the edge, or what was left of it. Moss clung to the broken spokes. The mill house leaned like it was exhausted. Choji's breath caught. "Oh, that's bad. Do you have others?" "No," Dasana answered. He cast a glance at Asuma. "That reminds me, I've got to check that. The old wave mill." "It's out of use," Shikamaru remarked. "What happened to it?" "Gato," Dasana spat. "Said the miller was behind on taxes, so he taught him a lesson. But how's anyone supposed to pay taxes after he destroyed the mill, huh?" "What's the problem?" Naruto asked. "What does it do?" "It grinds grain," Choji said quietly. "Flour, rice, barley, everything. Without it, people have to do it by hand." "That means they can't make enough food that way," Shikamaru said softly. "And he's cut off the waters too," Dasana muttered. Naruto's fist clenched. "Gato did this? He just lets people starve?" His voice was cracked with anger. Haruhi felt pressure in her chest too. "It's just one of countless examples," Dasana sighed. "But that's why my bridge is so important. He's taken the waters, but we'll create a passage of our own. We won't give up." They passed the mill, following the docks. As an island settlement, the village spilled across 2 islands with an ocean passage channeling between. There was a bridge linking them, though they'd been told that wasn't the bridge Tazuna was working on. The new one would link them to the mainland, not other islands. As they walked, Naruto's head snapped towards the corner, but when she followed his line of sight, there wasn't really anything to see. Just 2 people talking. No, whispering? Had Naruto heard something? She strained her ears instead, having to focus hard to even get a whisper. 2 weird ninjas bragging in a tavern. Huh? What was that about? She couldn't catch everything, but she was becoming aware of the unusual hush over the street, despite the number of people out and about. She'd assumed people were just talking, but most were actually whispering, keeping their voices low even outdoors. Naruto slowed, clearly hearing more than she did and forcing Sasuke to comply. Haruhi dallied behind the group, channeling a bit of chakra to her ears to hear better. The problem with enhancing hearing was that everything became louder. It didn't really come with a filter. At once her own breath became so raspy and loud, like someone breathing directly into her ears. Naruto's footsteps tapped sharp as drums against the ground, the shuffling of fabrics grating. It was so much. That was both the point and the problem. The sounds further away did, technically, become louder too. She just had to find it underneath all the noise up close. Haruhi walked as inconspicuously as she could towards the side of the road to hear better, because it wasn't just one. Another villager hissed. "Cato's men are sniffing around for it. Cold enough to feed the whole island. Think it's real? Think it's much?" Haruhi's stomach tightened as she turned off the enhancement. So the rumors of gold had beaten them to the village. It seemed hope and greed traveled faster than shinobi. "That can't be good," she murmured. "This mission is getting bad." Naruto nodded. The boy stopped and waited for Haruhi to catch up with him. "But we'll get it back, Haruhi. Don't worry. The mission isn't failed yet." "No," Haruhi agreed, lips pursed. Sasuke wasn't really paying attention to the villagers. Either he hadn't heard or he just didn't let it show. His attention was fixed on Kakashi, which, honestly, Haruhi understood. Sensei was leading their teams at the very front, talking with Tazuna and Asuma Sensei, likely about Wave, and certainly not about Sharingan things. "Have you asked?" Haruhi blurted, flickering a glance towards Kakashi. No, you? Sasuke murmured, voice low. No. Eh? Naruto looked between them, nonplussed. Ask who about what? Sasuke didn't answer. Don't ignore me, the blonde insisted, offended. She didn't want him to make a scene and lowered her voice. Did you notice Kakashi Sensei's eye yesterday, Naruto? Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw. It's like yours. The Sharingan, right? That's what we were talking about, she clarified. What's the problem? Naruto wondered. You both went all gloomy and moody, but Sensei kicked ass with that eye. It spooked the evil bastard Zabuza away too. Haruhi shook her head. But he isn't an Uchiha. That eye came from somewhere, and when our family was killed, a lot of them had their eyes stolen. It took him 2 steps to process, expression going through several curious beats, and then Naruto stopped in his tracks, his face going pale. Good, he got it then. The rest of them was pretty far ahead, out of earshot, and wasn't really paying attention to the group at the back dallying. You're not saying Kakashi Sensei? We don't know, Haruhi whispered quickly. But where else? She didn't understand either. She'd assumed Itachi and the masked man were the ones who'd stolen the eyes. She still thought so. Her mother's eyes were pilfered long before anyone in Konoha knew what was happening. But was it the whole truth? Even if the killers took some eyes, had they taken all? Or the very thought made her nauseous. Had Leaf Ninjas been helping themselves after the fact? Robbing organs from her dead family and blaming it on the murderers? No, that wasn't just disgusting, dishonorable and a horrible thing to do, but plain illegal bloodline theft. And Kakashi wasn't even trying to hide it. He was acting as if he didn't have to explain. So did that mean it was okay? Or was he just that brazen with his crimes? Stop talking, Sasuke snapped. And not just at Naruto. He was glaring at Haruhi too. Why are you telling him? We've got enough with this mission. Let's not. The topic was done for now, and he quickened his pace, dragging Naruto along while threatening, Don't say anything about this, you hear me? It stays between us. The 3 of them fell into a strained silence as the road stretched on. It was another 15 minutes before the shape of Tazuna's bridge rose out of the sea. It was massive, skeletal, and far more imposing up close than it had seemed from a distance. Whoa, Joji breathed as he looked around. It's huge. Ino peered over the railing, eyeing the dark waters below warily. Their teachers exchanged a look ahead of them, and Kakashi Sensei stopped. Alright, he said, voice low but carrying. Everyone gather up. They shuffled closer. Naruto shot Haruhi a quick, uncertain glance, which she couldn't really answer as Team 10 formed a loose semicircle around their sensei. Kakashi's visible eye curved in a smile that wasn't a smile at all. So, he said lightly, you've probably heard the rumors. Huh? Joji asked. Shikamaru blinked. About your... Ah! Naruto yelped when Sasuke stepped on his foot and Haruhi cast him a warning glare. The rest looked over as Naruto cursed out Sasuke, but didn't even question it. They'd been bickering for a day now. Ino cleared her voice. You mean about the gold? Naruto shook his head. We're getting it back, of course! You are, Kakashi Sensei agreed. But Wave has other ideas. I picked up a few interesting tidbits during my reconnaissance. He tilted his head. We were right to assume a fourth accomplice took the statue yesterday, but that someone isn't sharing with anyone except Zabuza. I hear a couple of men were overheard talking about a golden statue in the town's bar yesterday evening. Two men who sounded a lot like the Demon Brothers. It seems Zabuza isn't sharing. And they brothers are chatty when drunk. Word is spreading fast. People think there's a fortune hidden somewhere in Wave. Shikamaru frowned. That is either troublesome or helpful. How is that helpful, Shikamaru? Choji asked. If there's a fracture between Zabuza and the Demon Brothers, that's better for us. Oh. Even if that's the case, don't think it'll be easy. You kids need to understand better what you're up against here. Momochi Zabuza has a reputation that can't be ignored. He looked at each of them in turn, his face grim. These are rumors, but Kirigakure is a more hostile place than Konoha is. When Zabuza was still an academy student, Kirigakure had a horrifying graduation ritual. Instead of a final exam akin to what you had, the missed students had to kill each other to pass. What? Ino gasped. Harui's eyebrows climbed up her brow. As I understand, the kids were tasked to kill their friend to be allowed to graduate. You can just imagine. Best friends like Choji and Shikamaru here, forced to fight to the death. I'd never, Choji growled. Kakashi shrugged. I hope so, but that's easy to claim with no pressure or stakes. But the choice would be kill your friend or be killed yourself. Haruhi met Sasuke's eye, her chest twisting with something slightly nauseating. That sort of pressure can reveal ugly sides of a lot of people. Her sensei kept talking heavily. And few knows for sure before they're in that situation themselves. Even Asuma looked very uncomfortable, glancing at Kakashi with a tense expression. But Zabuza knew. Kakashi sighed. He took it further. He didn't kill one student as the graduation required, but his entire class, earning himself the title as a demon of the Bloody Mist and ending that particular tradition. And that was just the start of his career. Since then, he staged a failed coup against the Mizukage, which forced him to flee and become a nuke nin. Harui folded her arms. And this was the man they had to steal back the gold from? Asuma-sensei cleared his voice, but it couldn't break the tension. Now you understand better what we're up against, this affects both missions. Team 10's priority is Tazuna and the bridge. Team 7's is recovering the stolen treasure. But if waves of civilians start chasing rumors, we've got a third problem. Civilians? Naruto echoed. They're gonna get hurt! Or even hurt someone else, Ino said quietly. Exactly. Desperation makes people unpredictable, and when the one suspected to have it is Zabuza, it's dangerous. Kakashi sensed his tone shifted, still calm but iron underneath. So let's be clear about our roles here. Team 10 stays with Tazuna as per your mission instruction. Asuma-sensei grunted approval. Team 7, Sensei continued. You're still on retrieval, but we must be adaptable. If Zabuza or Gato's men are moving, we need to react according to the situation, not instructions. If the situation as such is better that Harui is guarding Tazuna and Team 7 borrows Shikamaru for a task, we'll do that. And the other way around. We're not two teams. We're a unit with a couple goals. Naruto straightened. We're not backing down! No one said you were, Kakashi-sensei replied. But half the island is whispering about gold. His voice dropped. That's a lot of gold. Life-changing amount of riches in a place with nothing. Assume everyone is looking for it. He cast a brief glance sideways, and Haruhi followed his line of sight to Tazuna. A chill rippled through the group. Gold, fortune, hope born of desperation. Haruhi felt it pressing in, like a tide rising in her peripheral. Anyone would want it? Even their client? Tazuna needed money, but surely he wouldn't... Wouldn't what? Do whatever he could to keep his family fed and safe? Finish a bridge that could change the fate of an entire island? If Tazuna tried to take the statue, could she even blame him? She forced the thought away, shaking her head as if she could dislodge it. The sun shone warm on the nape of her neck, and when Haruhi tilted her head up, she was blinded by the rays. The birds soared overhead, the ocean lapping gently, and their long list of problems felt quite out of sync with such a lovely day. Her mission was to retrieve the golden teddy and return it to its rightful owner. That's all. Because a ninja was only as good as their word. The mission was sacred. The foundation everything else rested on. It came with a forehead protector, with the title of Shinobi of Konohagakure no Sato. When Haruhi accepted this assignment, their first C-rank mission, she'd sworn herself to it. Success or failure was one thing, but breaking the oath or sabotaging their contract was unacceptable. It was their sworn duty to get the gold statue back to the princess. It belonged to her. To a girl who had everything.